My name is Lyra. I am 26 years old. My husband's name is Callan. He is 27. We have been married for 1 year. It has been a good year, a quiet year, a year full of small moments and simple happiness. Then everything changed. I found out I was pregnant. It was not planned, but it was not impossible either. We had never been fully careful. We did not use protection every single time. I was not on any birth control. So when those two lines appeared on the test, I was surprised, but I was not shocked. I was happy. I have always wanted to be a mother. Ever since I was a little girl, I dreamed of holding my own child, of reading bedtime stories, of late nights and warm hugs. So when I saw that test, my heart filled with something soft and bright, something that felt like hope. I waited for Callan to come home from work that evening. I could not stop smiling. I thought about how I would tell him. I imagined his face. I imagined him pulling me close and saying everything was going to be okay. More than okay. Wonderful. He walked through the door. I took a breath and I told him. Snorts. His face changed immediately, not into a smile, not into surprise or joy. His face changed into something hard, something cold. He looked at me like I had said something wrong, like I had brought him bad news instead of the most beautiful news of my life. He asked me in a sharp and angry voice how this could possibly have happened. I stayed calm. I explained it to him gently. I reminded him that we had not always been careful. I told him that it was sudden, yes, but it was not impossible. I thought he would take a moment, breathe, and understand. He did not understand. Instead, he demanded a paternity test. He looked me straight in the eyes and told me there was no way this baby was his. I felt those words like a slap across my face. I stood completely still. My smile was gone. The warmth I had been carrying all day disappeared in an instant. And in its place came something sharp and painful, something that stung deep inside my chest. I had never cheated on Callan. Not once. Not even a thought. Not even a moment. I had given him my full loyalty from the very first day. I had never done anything to make him doubt me. Not a single reason. Not a single sign. And yet there he was accusing me without proof, without reason, without hesitation. I told him I could not believe he was asking me this. He said I was not helping my case. He said that if I had nothing to hide, I would simply take the test and prove it. Those words burned. I thought about everything we had built together. Our home, our vows, our trust, and I looked at this man standing in front of me, doubting every piece of it. And something inside me stood up straight. I told him clearly. I told him calmly, but I told him with every ounce of strength I had. I said that if he doubted my loyalty so deeply, if he truly believed I had been with someone else, then I was not sure I wanted to bring a child into this marriage. I did not want to be tied forever to a man who did not trust me. Not like this. He exploded. He raised his voice. He accused me again. He called me difficult. He said I was dismissing his feelings. He said asking for a paternity test was completely valid. And here is the truth. Here is what I need to say clearly because some people misunderstood this later. I agreed to the test. I said yes. I told him I would take it. I had nothing to hide and I never did. But I also stood by my words. My agreement did not mean I was okay with being called a cheater. My agreement did not erase the pain of his accusation. After the argument, he left for work. We did not speak. The house was quiet and heavy. I went to see my closest friend, a woman named Petra. I told her everything. I needed to hear a kind voice. Petra listened carefully. She told me that, yes, Callan had been out of line. She agreed that he had no right to accuse me so harshly. But she also said I should not have spoken about leaving. She said his concern, even if badly expressed, may have been valid. I sat with that for a long time. Maybe she was right about how I said it, but she did not feel what I felt in that moment. She did not feel the sting of being called something you are not by the one person in the world who is supposed to know you best. There was also something else, something that stayed in the back of my mind. During the argument, I had asked Callan a direct question. I asked him if he had ever gotten a vasectomy. I asked him if there was a medical reason he believed this child could not be his. He brushed it off. He said nothing clear. He just kept repeating that the baby could not be his. No explanation, no honesty, just denial. That silence told me something. And I also remembered something important. When we were still dating, I had told Callan plainly that having children was not something I was willing to give up. I told him it was a deal breaker for me. He said he was fine either way. If we had children, good. If we did not, also good. I called that neutral. I accepted it. But now I wonder if his feelings had quietly changed over time. If somewhere along the way he had decided he did not want children after all and never told me. That thought hurt almost as much as the accusation. The results would come in 2 weeks. 2 weeks of cold silence at the dinner table. 2 weeks of him sleeping on the far edge of the bed, his back to me. 2 weeks of him looking at my growing belly, not with love, but with suspicion. Those 2 weeks were the loneliest of my life. Every morning I woke up sick, not just from the pregnancy, but from a deep loneliness that sat in my chest like a heavy stone. I would lie in bed with one hand on my stomach and think, this should be the happiest time of my life. It was not. I went to my first doctor's appointment alone. I sat in the waiting room surrounded by other pregnant women, all of them with their partners beside them, holding hands, looking at scan pictures with happy eyes. I held my own scan picture alone. The nurse asked if the father was coming. I said he was busy with work. I smiled when I said it. At home, things got worse. Callan would sigh when I entered the room. He spoke to me only when necessary. He treated me like a problem to solve, not like his wife, not like the mother of his child. One evening, I asked if he wanted to feel the baby move. It was too early. There was nothing to feel yet, but I was trying. He looked at me and said, "I'll wait for the results first." That night, I cried so quietly into my pillow that my whole body shook. But I kept going because my baby needed me to. I ate even when food made me sick. I walked by the river in the evenings. I talked to my baby quietly, hand on my stomach, telling her she was wanted. She was loved. She would always know that. My mother noticed something was wrong. 2 days later, she arrived with soup and sad eyes. When I finished telling her everything, she held my hand and said, "You deserve better than this, my love." The night before the results, I could not sleep. I lay in the dark listening to Callan breathe beside me, slow, regular, unbothered. He was sleeping fine. That told me everything. A man who truly loved his wife would not sleep easily that night. He would be awake. He would be sorry. He said nothing. He slept. At 3 o'clock in the morning, I sat by the window. The street was empty. A small yellow circle on the wet road. I thought about the woman I had been 1 year ago. Happy, newly married, full of hope. I thought about the woman I was now. Harder, quieter, carrying a baby and a grief at the same time. Something left me that night. A hope I had been holding tightly, that things would go back to how they were. I felt it leave quietly, like a door closing softly in an empty room. It did not come back. The results came on a Tuesday morning. We sat side by side in the clinic room, not touching, not speaking. The doctor opened the file and read the result. The baby was Callan's 100%. I did not cry. I did not smile. I thought I would feel triumphant, but there was no triumph, only a deep, tired sadness. Callan went very pale. He swallowed once, then he said, "I'm sorry." 2 words. 2 small words for 2 weeks of silence. For every night I cried alone for the scanned picture I held by myself. I stood up. The doctor. I picked up my bag and walked out into the gray morning. Callan followed me. He touched my arm. I stopped and looked at him. Really? Looked at him for the first time since all of this began. I said, I know. And then I kept walking. People expected the test to fix everything, but the wound does not heal just because the accusation was wrong. Callan tried in the weeks after. He came to appointments, he brought food, he rubbed my back. I let him because my body needed care and I was too tired to fight, but something inside me had closed, like a door that shut softly but completely. No drama, just a quiet final click. One evening, he asked what he needed to do to get me back. I said, Callan, you looked at your own wife and decided without one reason, without one piece of proof that I had betrayed you. You made me feel like a criminal in my own home. You turned the most beautiful moment of my life into the loneliest. And when the test proved you wrong, you said 2 words and expected that to be enough. He was quiet. I am not angry anymore, I said. I am just done. He started to cry. Part of me felt it. The old part that had loved him. But tears are not the same as change. When I said I wanted a divorce, he became desperate, following me from room to room, begging, calling my mother, calling my friend Petra. My mother asked gently if I was certain. I said, yes. She said, then I am with you. Petra said I was making a mistake. She said I was ruining my family over one bad moment. I listened to everything she said. Then I said, you still do not understand what he did to me. I do not need your permission. She went quiet. Then Callan stopped begging me to stay and started talking about the baby. He said he had rights. That word told me everything. Not, I want to earn my child's trust. Not, I want to be someone she is proud of. Rights, like a baby, were something to be claimed. I called a lawyer the next week. The divorce was not easy. There were papers, meetings, and hard conversations. Some days I cried in my car outside the lawyer's office, not because I wanted to go back, but because grief does not care about your reasons. You can be certain about your choice and still grieve the life you thought you were going to have. I grieved the man I married. I grieved the family I had imagined. That family would never exist. I buried the image and kept moving. My daughter was born on a cold November morning. I named her Iris. She was small and perfect. She had Callan's dark eyes and my stubborn mouth. She looked up at me the moment she arrived, like she already knew me. My mother sat in the corner of the hospital room with tears on her face. I held Iris and thought, here she is, the one good thing that came from all of it. Callan was not in the room. He had asked to be. I had said no. He met her afterward briefly. He held her carefully. His eyes were wet. I watched from across the room. No anger, no pity, just a quiet distance, like watching something through glass. He handed her back and said, she is beautiful. I said, yes, she is. And I walked out with my daughter in my arms. The test came back in my favor. But that is not what this story is about. A man who truly trusts you does not need a test. A man who truly loves you does not sleep easily the night before the results. A marriage without trust is not a marriage. It is just 2 people standing close enough to look like a couple while a distance grows silently between them. Some days are hard now. The late-night feeds, the quiet house, the weight of doing everything alone. But then Iris laughs or she grabs my finger with her whole small fist, and the grief becomes very small and very far away. I did not get the family I imagined, but I got her and she is everything. To any woman carrying something heavy right now, you are not wrong for asking to be trusted. You are not selfish for walking away from someone who made you feel like a suspect in your own life. Love does not accuse without reason. Love does not say rights when it should say responsibility. You deserve the real thing. So does your child. So do I. My name is Lyra. I have a daughter named Iris. And for the first time in a very long time, I am free. Thanks for listening to my story here on Learn English by Stories. If you liked it, hit that subscribe button, drop a comment, and tell me where you're listening from.